One coach is gone, another steps up in his place. Newly appointed interim head coach Joe Mazzulla gets the promotion after serving as an assistant coach for a few years. All reports from Media Day and before suggest that the players and organization have a lot of faith in him to be successful in this role, with several noting his excellent attention to detail. Before I go further than that, we can't dance around Mazzulla's past. As a college student, he got himself in trouble on a few occasions, including a domestic battery charge in 2009. Regardless of what he says, that will be tied to him forever. His actions have to prove that he is a better man. For that reason, I won't be quick to sing his praises. That needed to be said, but he is the head coach of the Celtics, and the staff is still mostly intact from last season, so there's reason to be optimistic. The coaches know the system that made them successful, and every player aside from Brogdon does too. That's important for a sense of continuity. Injuries to Gallinari and Robert Williams gives Mazzulla his first test, to establish a rotation. We know that Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Al Horford will start, but Rob's injury puts that fifth spot in question. The most likely options are Malcolm Brogdon or Grant Williams. However, through 3 preseason games, Derek White has been the 5th starter, and there's a good argument to be made in favor of that choice as well. We even saw Luke Kornet get some run with starters during training camp, so it's fair to say that things are likely fluid and they'll explore different options. Derek White and Grant are the best defensive choices in that spot, with Grant allowing you to play bigger and White offering more playmaking. But Brogdon brings the total package as a scoring threat on and off the ball with fantastic playmaking and solid defense. For that reason, I lean toward giving Brogdon the spot, but I'd be lying if I didn't say that Derek White has looked great in that role. The fans seem to agree as well, as he received 70% of the vote to be the starter on opening night. To me, it comes down to Brogdon's ability to space the floor in a more threatening way than White, whose shooting looks improved to start the year, but at the moment, teams are still willing to help off of him. Grant is worth giving a real look as well for his defensive versatility and shooting. The Celtics need him off the bench because they're lacking another defensive-minded backup wing. Ultimately, Mazzulla will have to decide, and we'll see whether he sticks with a familiar face or inserts his newest weapon. Either way, I don't think you can go wrong. Putting this topic to the side for now, I'd like to go through some preseason observations to check in on where the team is at and how Mazzulla has sprinkled in some of his own philosophy while keeping the base of the system intact. Starting with the star of preseason so far, Jaylen Brown looks like a man on a mission. He's played in all 3 preseason games for the Celtics, scoring 22 points per game on a ridiculously efficient 59% from the field and 57.9% from 3. He's averaging 1.5 less points per game than last season while playing 8 less minutes per game. Yes, it's the preseason, so take that how you will, but it's not just about the numbers. I'm more excited about the process. The idea of the game slowing down gets thrown around a lot, but it's consistently been an accurate way to view Jaylen's year-to-year improvements. This year feels no different. Brown looks noticeably more controlled as an on-ball creator, throwing defenders off with change of pace, playing with poise in the pick and roll, and unleashing a flurry of space-creating moves that scream confidence. It's far too early to draw any big conclusions, but if JB continues to play with this level of composure, take strides as both a shot creator and pick and roll ball handler, defenses will have a hard time finding a hole in his game. As I mentioned earlier, Derek White has been the preseason starter. He's definitely looked worthy of that role through 3 games. Defensively, he's super consistent and has some of the best instincts in the league. I'm most excited about the offense though. I touched on it in a previous video, but a confident Derek White would be a massive development for Boston. White spent the summer refining his form and becoming a more effective shooter from deep. He's converting 41.7% of his threes so far, and of course it's a small sample, but the form looks great and he's not hesitating to let it fly. Even league average from 3 would be good enough with everything else White brings to the table. To continue the starter conversation from earlier, Grant Williams and Brogdon have both had great moments. For Malcolm, the scoring wasn't there yet. To me, that's totally understandable. In the same way as Derek White last season, he's not here to step on anyone's toes hunting his shot, needs to find his place in the offense. He'll adjust quickly because the Celtics will call on him often, and players will encourage him to go get a bucket. The playmaking is what really shined, though. This man could sleepwalk onto the court and give you 6 assists. In his 2 preseason appearances, he dished out 9 assists in each game and helped the Celtics play with a much faster pace. He was getting paint touches and kicking it out to shooters, and on top of that, he looked fantastic in transition. And to me, this is a phase of the game the Celtics should really take advantage of. If you look at Grant Williams' numbers, it'd be easy to say he's giving you his usual production, and statistically, you'd be right. However, he's had some eye-opening flashes as an on-ball creator. That may get real dim when the season starts, but I want to see Grant expand his game this season, and he clearly put the work in to be able to. Honestly, I'm sure we won't see much isolation called for Grant, but it's nice to know he's looking comfortable putting the ball on the floor, and hopefully that'll translate to attacking closeouts. Those are the main guys I wanted to talk about, but here's a few quick-fire thoughts on some others. Tatum didn't have the jumper ready for preseason, but I like some of his work attacking the rim, especially in the Raptors game. Horford's always going to give you his well-rounded numbers. Marcus Smart was mostly just there for the vibes. Sharpshooters Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser have both shown off their range. Hauser looks like a fantastic fit on this team, and to my eyes, his defense has been much better than advertised. Pritchard never lacks confidence, but he looks good finding his own shot and making plays for others, highlighted by his 5.5 assists per game through the preseason. The big man situation remains the biggest question mark on the roster, but Kevin Gele continues to give me faith he can contribute in small spurts. Hometown product Noah Vonleh has made an excellent argument to grab one of the Celtics' final roster spots, as a strong rebounder and good physical presence. Blake Griffin didn't play great in his first and only game, but he still hauled in 9 rebounds to go with 7 points. If they can get that from him on random nights throughout the year, I'll be satisfied with that. To wrap up this video, we'll bring it back full circle and note some of Mazzulla's influence on the team. As I said at the start, the system is in place on both ends and it's proven to work. Joe's responsibility is to add to it and help the team perfect it. We've seen exactly that so far. The switching defense didn't go anywhere, and it looks even better with the starting unit because they know how to play off of each other. White is the perfect complementary piece in that way because he understands when to rotate and stunt at players until the defense can recover. We haven't had quite enough time to see what Mazzulla will implement defensively. I'd be in favor of more aggressive pick and roll coverages like traps from time to time, but it's a good sign that the recipe for an elite defense is carried over. Offensively is where I believe we've already seen Mazzulla add a few wrinkles, and that gets me excited. For years now, I've hoped to see more actions with Brown and Tatum screening for each other. It always felt like a pick-your-poison situation where any choice from the defense is bound to create an advantage somewhere. Mazzulla seems to have recognized this right away, calling for a Brown-Tatum pick-and-roll with Tatum as the screener. To everyone's surprise, it resulted in a wide-open dunk for Tatum. I also like the idea of using Brogdon as a decoy in this situation to keep the help defense at a minimum. In my previous video, I spent a chunk of it looking at the Celtics' creativity out of pin-down sets. Joe seems to have some tricks up his sleeve to build on that as well. They set up a double pin-down for Smart here, but with LaMelo going underneath the screen, Smart curls in and makes contact with Oubre ever so slightly before cutting to the rim. It's a great look for Tatum regardless of the miss, but it also opened up a brief window for Smart streaking open to the rim with the defensive miscommunication. The execution of this Spain pick and roll is sweet too, with Horford screening for Tatum and Brown screening the big man to open up a lane for Tatum to get to the rim. My expectation is that we continue to see Mazzulla tinker with the offense more so than the defense, and it's nice that in such a short time he's already done that a bit. The last note I have is that I appreciate the willingness to just try things, even if they don't work out. Rolling with the Tatum at the 5 lineup or the 4-guard lineup with Horford at the 5 is cool to see, and something they may need to go to depending on health and how the big man situation shakes out. Despite some understandable uncertainty surrounding this organization, the coaching staff doesn't have to work any miracles. Sticking with the game plan and working to perfect it should be enough to make another finals run. So far, they seem to be on track and off to a good start. As always, if you made it to this point, thanks for watching. Drop a like and subscribe if you enjoy the content, and let me know how you're feeling about this Celtics team heading into the season.